Can you give an example of what the resource of anxiety might be?
Anxiety is telling you might not be feeling safe, a signpost that your body is experiencing a form of threat, that you're outside of what your capacity is in the autonomic nervous system. So we all have anxiety, we all have our ups and downs. Anxiety it's a resource for everyone. When it moves outside of what our capacity is to hold it and move with it and understand it and work with it, that's when dysregulation happens.
And we so often override anxiety.
Yeah.
But actually, we need to be discerning about when we notice our anxiety and stay in a situation.
Yeah.
And the goal actually isn't to be regulated all the time.
I think that's a bit of a dream, right?
Yeah.
We don't live in a world that's structured for regulation. Anxiety and depression are completely understandable responses to the world.
Today I'm joined by Ange Cook, an integrative psychotherapist whose approach is trauma-informed and inclusive, welcoming diverse identities including LGBTQIA+ and neurodiverse individuals. In this episode, we'll explore what integrative therapy means in practice, the importance of the language of the client, and the role of the therapist in creating a safe, non-judgmental space. Ange will also share insights into existential themes, particularly in younger clients, and discuss how therapy is shaped by both intellectual understanding and embodied experience. You're listening to The Right Therapist, where we demystify therapy. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we live and work. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today. Welcome, Ange.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Can you tell us a bit about you and your work?
My work is what I am most passionate about, I think. My work feels incredibly alive and rich and fulfilling. I am an integrative psychotherapist, so I work with lots of different modalities of therapy. I work with individuals, adolescents, so I see people who are 14 years and older. Yeah, it's a beautiful, privileged place to be and work in. Yeah.
What is it when you say your work is alive? Can you say a bit more about that? What does that mean or feel like to you?
Oh, I even just as you say that, my whole body, I just notice my whole body, like there's a tingling that happens. I think it's a love. It's an incredibly rewarding, rich, interesting space, I would say, as an individual, separate from the therapist, I guess. I'm an incredibly curious human, and that curiosity is about what fundamentally it is to be human, how we show up in the world, how we relate to the world, what challenges us, what makes us alive, and how we connect with that, what's in the way of thriving, what's in the way of hope, and those kinds of themes. So yeah, alive is like even that word, even as I'm tingly with it. It's a love for me. It's a beautiful thing to be with human beings who are suffering, challenged, exploring, curious themselves, stuck, wandering. Yeah, they're all the qualities of it that make it feel really amazing.
And what you're saying is quite different from what people generally imagine work as a therapist is like. I often have people say, oh, gee, that must be really taxing. That must be really hard to be with. How do you listen to people essentially talk about what they're struggling with all day? It must be so difficult, but that's not what you're describing as your experience.
No, and that's not to say that it's not hard work. That it's holding story. And some of the stories we hold are so heartbreaking. But that's it. We're holders of story. We're keepers of others' stories. We explore them together. And in a relational and collaborative way, that can be so fulfilling, so energizing. I often find myself surprised, a long day holding complex stories and really challenging themes. And yet there's a vitality that's possible in that. It can be exhausting, but it can be really vital as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you've mentioned a few times curiosity. Can you say a bit more about curiosity and its role in therapy?
I mean, what comes to mind is, what's the difference between inquiry and curiosity even? Both are important and play a role in a therapist session. Curiosity allows for this kind of space where I don't know. It removes assumptions. It's this leaning forward, this I wonder what's here. It's an invitation, curiosity, I think, as well. It's like, wanna come with me, wanna see what's there. There's a light to it and a depth to it. Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, it really does. And I think something about curiosity and like you said, it's like a lack of assumption, a lack of knowing from the therapist and a willingness to explore. And I think sometimes a deterrent for people coming to therapy is that people feel like they might be told what's happening for them, told what they're doing wrong or how they are wrong.
Yeah.
And curiosity really feels like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
In a really supportive way.
Yeah, curiosity leads with, I wonder what it would be like. I wonder if it has that wonder in it. It's suggestive, but not sure.
Yeah, and there's something really beautiful about that, allowing a therapist and client to meet each other with what's actually happening, not what we might assume is happening, or labelling or even diagnosing, which has its place. But, just that exploration and holding lightly by the therapist.
Yeah. Curiosity also brings whatever it is into the present.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's it like right now?
What's it like right now? I'm curious about this. How does it feel right now? This thing from way, way back, I'm curious about what is that now for you?
Yeah.
What's going on with that? What is that? How does that make you feel right now? What are you noticing happening right now as you recount this? I'm curious.
And so there's what happened in our lives and often our developmental history, and that's in some ways events and fact. But curiosity is, how is it sitting in you now? How is it in your body now?
Yeah.
How are you holding it?
Yeah.
And how is it either or both getting in the way or supporting you now? I wonder if, leading from this little conversation about curiosity, if we move into a little more curiosity and do a segment of therapy.
Yep.
Cool. So I often say, this is not a normal therapy session. I'm not usually your client. We don't have a therapeutic relationship. We have a different kind of relationship. So we're stepping into a new dynamic for both of us in a setting that is both currently quite different to therapy with cameras and lights and microphones, but there's also an awareness of then what happens with this afterwards. That's something that I hold as the client and still try to bring myself as authentically as I can in this. Yeah. And it's also different to therapy, different to what maybe an initial session with you would be.
Yeah. There's no framing here, is there? We're diving right in.
Yeah. And there's no kind of build up, the creation of safety. It's been created in another way through our relationship, also through my own therapy and the fact that I'm a therapist. So while it is very different to a usual therapy session, it is still a real segment of therapy.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I'll just transition myself into the role of a client, which is a little bit of a change of gears.
Yeah. And I into therapist,
Well, the first thing I'm aware of is it's just nice to be here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think something I feel with you is that openness and curiosity.
And so I want to welcome you into this space between us, into whatever can transpire in this relational field, I guess, across 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. Thanks.
What feels present for you?
I'm noticing my difficulty of kind of, I guess, two parts of me. One that's like, you didn't look at the time before you started, Laura. So still in podcast host mode. And another part that, just feels like, relaxing a little.
Yeah.
And just being with you in a totally different way to what we've ever been before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I notice a bit of just like a sensation in my chest and maybe throat. I'm actually not sure whether it's excitement or being unsure.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Together.
Is it okay to be with that? The ambiguity of it. Do you need to change it? Do you need to change that feeling, or is it just okay to acknowledge it and say, I notice you, yeah.
Yeah. There's part of me that wants to kind of bring something.
Okay.
But it is nice to just be in, nice isn't the right word, but I'm willing to be in the not knowing.
Yeah. Not knowing is a really interesting place to be, right? I immediately get curious, right? I'm just like, okay, where else at this time in your life is there a not knowing? And where are you feeling like you're coming up against it?
Yeah, a few places. And the first one that comes to mind is work.
Yep.
Not knowing timelines of when things are going to be ready, not knowing, like I have a plan for what's hopefully going to happen and eventuate. And awareness that there are parts of it that I can't control and that I'm relying on other people, and also that I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just making it up and holding the vision for what I want. And I get in these places of, I don't know whether things are going to happen the way that I thought they were or on the timeline that I thought they were. Yeah, so there's an uncertainty and a nervousness that comes with that.
Yeah. Does that not knowing steer you, or are you surrendered with it?
I think it definitely steers me at least a bit.
Wow. Where do you go? Where do you go with it? What happens with the not knowing and the ambiguity?
Yeah, I think I go to asking questions, to wanting more information, and maybe to a bit more of a constricted place.
Yeah.
That I think I go,
yeah,
and maybe even hold my breath a bit.
Yeah.
With the not knowing.
Yes. What does the not knowing ask of you? What's its gift?
Yeah, I think it asks me to be open to allow things to unfold. There's another part of me that says, no, but you've got to steer things too. So there's another part of my mind that chimes in like, and they feel like two polarities, like just go with the flow, let it unfold, trust the universe. And this other part of me that's like, no, but you've got to take action and you need to know what's happening. And yeah. And I don't think either of them are wrong.
Well, I was going to say, like, these are the two truths, right? The parallel truths. There is importance in flow. And I wonder whether the part which, wants to go with the flow is actually what the body needs in order to be active in the doing and the proactive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That flow state is great, but it isn't taking your hands off the wheel. It's like, okay, I have this objective. I've got these objectives. This is where I want to head. This is where I want to go. I wonder what it would be like to locate flow state that's more embodied. So you're dealing with working with the constriction, as opposed to just feeling constricted and feeling like you need to be either or.
Yeah. Yeah, because the constriction, it does make me go to either don't worry, just take your hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
That's what one solution I come up with is.
Yeah.
And the other is get control of it.
Yeah. And it's interesting that these happen in a cognitive register, whereas the body is actually telling you that it's feeling constricted.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're moving it into a headspace and your solutions are happening in the thinking. And yet your body is just saying, I feel constricted. I wonder what it would be like to deeply attend to what is constricted in the body. And then I wonder what then happens to the cognitive spaces. So you're moving bottom up. Yeah.
Okay. When I go more, bring myself down, I feel my heart beat. And it just feels like a reminder that I'm alive. That I think when I'm in that head place, I forget that. But I don't know, there's something about just feeling my heart beating. And it is beating with some intensity. And then there's this kind of, I don't know what that shape is, but it's like a squashed circle with pointed ends. I forget what that's called, but I think I feel it softening a little as I come to it.
I just want to invite you to breathe into that space. Just notice. It's not even necessary to be attached to the idea of changing it, but just be with it. It has a shape. It has a sensation. It has particular qualities. Does it have a color?
Yeah, it's like a silvery blue. The more I'm with it, the more kind of nice it feels. Like it's quite a strong, it's almost made of like a really shiny metal. Where when I was in my head it felt like a constriction. But here it feels a bit more like a force. Maybe force isn't the right word, but it feels powerful. It's a bit of a weird simile, but it feels a bit like a bullet. Or like something very aerodynamic.
Definitely power there.
Yeah.
something, I'm going into just jumping on the metaphor train. I mean, a bullet is something with which one aims. So interesting that it's changed your relationship to sensation by moving out of the head and being with. I mean, I don't presume to know what it all means. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, it definitely has changed my experience of the sensation. Before it was like, oh, sensation, and going to the solutions to it. Mm-hmm. It almost was an anxiety when I was in my head. Mm-hmm. And now, when you mentioned aiming at something, or I'm not sure what words you use, but aiming, the word deploying came into my mind.
Okay.
Deploying my energy. And the word sharpening, kind of sharpening my focus. It makes me think that the uncertainty has called me to this and going to the body, this sharpening of my focus and this, okay, well, where am I going to deploy this? There's something here to be used or acted on.
Yes. How does it relate to the not knowing? Which is it's a curious thing, because what I'm hearing from you is this sense of an energetic movement with something, which sits in contrast to this idea of I don't know. There's ambiguity. There are things outside of my control. How do they relate?
I don't really know. I think this maybe doesn't answer your question, but
maybe it does. Maybe that's exactly it. I don't know. What an interesting response.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is that okay that you don't know?
In this place, in my body,
Yeah.
it is okay that I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm connected to this energy that I can deploy when it becomes clear.
Yeah.
And that for now, it's okay to just allow things to be unclear. And that when it's clear, I can deploy this energy.
Yeah.
It's a very different experience from figuring it out with my mind. It's like anxiety versus, in this instance, anxiety versus, like the thing I do know is that there's some power here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I couldn't get there from my head. Thank you.
My pleasure. I mean, I had no idea where we were going. I was just like, oh, okay. Wow, this is, this is curiosity, right? I don't know either.
Yeah.
What's emerging here?
And there's something about, and we're moving now into just talking about kind of close
I just want to check
session.
in though before about a bridge. So, particularly when working online, for example, there's always a bridge. Like when we arrive, how do we arrive together before we end the session? What's the bridge from here to there? And it's really important, often that's a waiting room or walking out of the room to the car and driving, right? These are bridges. So before we move out of this state, you've just moved into your body, I want to ask, what's a bridge for you? Should we take a moment together before, moving back into different roles?
Yeah, that sounds really nice.
Yeah. And so that might just be really breathing. Yeah. Again, similarly to how we started, like grounding again, just noticing your feet on the floor. Some really big breaths.
Yeah, that feels helpful.
Yeah, something arrived in a moment. We want to honour that somehow by not just shifting away from it really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels, I do tend to rush to the next thing. So it is really nice to just
be a minute.
Yeah, I feel back.
Yeah. And now, and also like it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's the inherent power position of a therapist, which is really interesting. And so now we shift here you lead. Yeah. So we just that exchange even, you know, like, just like, okay, I feel myself even transitioning out of this attention in this particular way. Yeah.
It's a really particular way of paying attention as a therapist, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's interesting what happens for me as a client when I'm held in that attention.
Yeah.
That it gives me permission to really be with what's happening for me, which isn't something we get in other relationships, because other relationships are generally more collaborative in a different way, where both of the people's stories are there, both of the people's needs are there.
Yeah. I mean, I just love going to therapy because it's all about me. I'm just like, I want to say, you know, particularly as women, where do we get to take up all the space and really just have and be held by another human being who is attuned to us for 50 minutes, who is there to hold our stories. Like, I mean, this is the beautiful thing about therapy for so many people. Like, I just get to be me here.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I'm reminded of clients sometimes that are really uncomfortable with it, actually. Yeah. I didn't even ask how you are, or, I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's go back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or, that exploration of what's happening when you want to, that it's somehow unfamiliar for people to be held in someone's attention that way. That it's new.
How do I take up space? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting and you know, I think one of the common things that I will see is clients talking about other people in their life and what's going on for them. And that moment where, you know, that's identified. It's like, hey, I'm just noticing that you're really talking about your partner and their experience, but what's that actually like for you? How does that make you feel? What's going on for you? Where are you in this story and your experience? Oh, I don't know. That's what I'll hear a lot. I don't know. I'm too busy worrying about whether everybody else is okay. My partner, the kids, you know, my sick mother, my whatever else is going on, my work role, my colleagues, my everything else but me. All right, and the steering, that this directive piece, that often I'm just noticing again. Can we come back to you? I want you to take up space. I want this to be about you. What's your experience? How do you feel? What do you think?
It's an interesting one, and it's universal, and I think particularly for women, where our attention is generally is outwards and on others.
Yeah.
And maybe this feeling that I'll just make sure everything out there is okay, and then maybe I can feel okay.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, and, on a more meta level, that really speaks to how desperately sad it is that we don't live in village, that community, that the village is so lacking.
Yeah. And support.
Yeah. Yeah. And that shows up all the time as well.
Going back to our segment of therapy, it's just so interesting how a top-down approach, while there's a place for that and we use that in therapy.
Yeah.
In my inner workings, when I was trying to approach what was happening for me just from my mind, it was a much more difficult experience, and trying to think my way out of, I thought what was happening out there, but I was actually trying to think my way out of this feeling in my chest.
Yeah.
And the difference in my experience when we came down into my body, that it wasn't what my mind thought it wasn't anxiety that was there. And I think that's something that psychotherapy, and particularly embodied psychotherapy, really brings and is such a point of difference. Do you work in an embodied way like that generally?
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely work somatically. But, it's, where do I go with this? There are so many moving parts to working with the body. Firstly, you got to be safe in your body. Safety and stabilization needs to be established before you go into any kind of deep work, particularly, where there's trauma. Certainly where trauma has been, in the body. I think so. It's a slow process, generally speaking. There are some people, some clients who are just so ready and similarly to you, even in a first session, touching in with the body, just with this gentle curiosity, is like a light bulb moment. Oh, okay, I'm disconnected. For other people, there is nothing happening in the body. I'm not going there at all. I'm just like, well, that's speaking. So there are a whole different ways of then approaching how to engage the body where emotion sits. But yeah, I think the body gets left out of the story so much, and it speaks. It really it's so vocal. It's so it's the tool for regulation, and that for me will look very different in different sessions. Sometimes it's standing up and shaking. Sometimes it's lying on the floor. Sometimes it's lying on the floor with legs up the wall. Sometimes it's bilateral tapping. Sometimes it is soothing the chest. Sometimes it is just moving and seeing. Sometimes it is identifying sensation. Sometimes it's just familiarizing a person with their feet in their shoes on the ground. What does grounding mean? There are a whole different array of tools and ways in which to engage with feeling and sensation and body, but it has to be done safely.
Can you say a little bit more about clients who might have very little access to their embodied sensations?
Yeah.
And you said before that speaks. What does it often speak of? What does it indicate?
Often indicates that the body isn't a safe place to be. I can think of a number of clients who aren't yet connected with body, and it may be, I'm not going to make assumptions there either about whether or not they are going to have full access to their body, or that they need to engage in, a broad, big range of emotional feeling even. And there are all sorts of things to factor in, what is the history of trauma. But also quite commonly in neurodivergent individuals, there'll be a different body somatic relationship. And so we get curious about that together. And I don't want to assume or project or direct someone toward feeling states that are my idea about what they should feel or how connected they should be to their body, which very much ties into, I know I'm very passionate about the language of the client. Is it okay if we go?
Yeah,
there?
Absolutely.
One of the things I do when I meet someone for the first time in a first session, when you're, just coming to know each other and they're just like, well, who are you and how does this all work and how do you work, is I talk about the language of the client. I talk about your language. And for me, and in the way that I particularly work, I'm so curious about the language of the other. What does that even mean? I'm certainly not talking about whether or not you're, bilingual or speak other languages. More about, are you a creative person? Are you an artist? Are you a lover of music? Are you somebody who dances or moves your body? Are you a visual person? Are you oral? Are you kinesthetic? So what are your learning styles? If you're a kinesthetic person, would it be helpful for you to bring a notebook? We can take notes together. You want to read me things that you've written because you feel like that communicates you better? Absolutely. There are clients who bring pieces of music. This is how I feel, Ange. Great. Want to use the whiteboard? Absolutely. Let's map it out. Let's put words on the whiteboard and see, let's make maps together. Do you want a collage? This is creative too, right? Let's collage together. Neurodivergent clients, I have a whole heap of things to fiddle with. Draw. I've got kinetic sand and Play-Doh and all sorts of is this helpful for you to express yourself? How do you express yourself in the world? And then for me, how do I learn to speak that language with you? Because if therapy is going to be effective, yes, it's relational, absolutely. But how do I relate to you? How do I come to know you?
I'm so struck by how open and I don't think you would even use this word, but it seems to me how generous that is, that when someone's coming, you are so curious about exactly how can I meet you best.
Yes. Because we're all so unique. We're just so unique. If you don't have words, but you can play me a piece of music, if you want to bring me a poem, if I talk a little minute personally, with my therapist, I will bring a piece of music that I will find something that describes my year, and then I will write a poem. And I'm just like, here is how this year has felt with me. Here is this piece that I've read in this book that has touched me. I want you to know me in this way. This feels important. And, and I met there. I think that's a beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be constructing words. You got a piece of art. What does that mean? What is that? How does that art feel in your body? If you can access that, what are those shapes you're making right now with the Play-Doh? Are they symbols of something, or does that just help you loosen your dialogue? Yeah, isn't it so beautiful? It's so exciting.
Yeah.
What's
it actually sounds
there?
quite fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And where else in the world do you get to show someone your poem, and be really met in it? Yeah, or share exactly how you like to communicate and be met there. Yeah.
I find myself wanting to ask you what you would say your language is, Laura. How do you want to be met? What's the language of Laura?
It's a really good question. I think it's my body. That's where I get the most clarity. That's where I like to go. I might still tell the story of something in therapy, but where it really lives, I want to be able to share how it feels in my body and to, really embody it and feel it together. Yeah, that feels important for me. I remember when I first went to Gestalt, where I ended up training, and I'd been recommended to go there by my therapist at the time because I wanted to train. And, I was in this room with all of these people. It was like a group interview kind of thing, I guess. And it began, and the first person started talking, and one of the facilitators said, "And where do you feel that in your body?" And I remember going, this is a place for me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is where I want to be, where I want to train. Yeah.
Yes. I love that your body affirmed it.
Yeah. I really was like,
yes. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Unusually, I love music, but it's not my language. I don't find it in music the way I find myself in my body. Yeah. Thanks for asking that. I wasn't aware of that, but it's a nice thing to know about myself. Yeah. What's your language?
Music, poetry, body, definitely body. Yeah. Here and now, presence. But it's also very much in narrative, very much in narrative. And I guess that's the beautiful thing about what we define as integrative. You can draw from so many different modalities to meet the language of somebody. When you come across a client who might speak in metaphor a lot, I just run with those metaphors. Even what kind of shape can you make with your body that relates to that metaphor? I feel like I'm in a cage. Okay, let's get in the cage, it's beautiful. But parts, there's a part of me. It's okay, all right, let's introduce parts work here. Or the question, how old do you feel? Okay, there's the child. I imagine, okay, let's work in an imaginary space in the body. Yeah.
I love that question. How old do you feel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I ask myself all the time, wait, how old do I feel?
Oh, there's the adolescent.
I'm 5.
Yes. Yeah.
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 And just that awareness that, there's a part of me that has come forth that is stressed
Yep.
and doesn't have the resources that adult me has,
Yep.
just even knowing that that part of me has come forth gives me a little bit of perspective, and I don't have to react like a 5-year-old. I can go, okay, 5-year-old me feels like this.
Yeah.
It's such a great question just to ask ourselves generally.
Yeah.
And I love parts work.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, who's in the driver's seat?
It's quite beautiful to start kind of mapping that out with clients, the different parts of us that,
Yes.
Until we start doing that, we kind of just think, well, this is who I am. And I think it can be quite de-shaming to map out the parts because how you reacted in that moment is not who you are. It's a part of you that was trying to manage a situation. It's so powerful. You work with diverse clients and welcome all kinds of people in your therapy. Are there unique challenges that particular presentations or particular groups of clients face? I guess I kind of, from what you've already said, I know that you meet each client so individually.
Yeah.
You mentioned before working with neurodivergent clients. Is there a particular approach or a set of principles that guide your work?
Yeah, absolutely. I think working with, neurodivergent people is kind of different. I'm certainly not approaching from, there's always the foundational, what is the language of this person as well? How do they show up in the world? How do they know themselves? But there is definitely, I'm very, very conscious about really steering clear of behavioural changing orientations. I'm not interested, and it's not helpful at all to look at changing behaviours. And neurodivergence shows up in very, very different ways. Some ADHD clients love lists and have to be organised and everything in order to function. Other people just like, no fucking way. And so I think the common theme is around what it is to unmask. I think my experience is that there is this expectation, and when I talk about behavioural change, I'm talking about you need to adjust yourself in order to exist in a neurotypical world. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm interested in actually revealing the ways in which and navigating often the immense grief of navigating a life in a neurotypical world as a neurodivergent person. I kind of want to caveat that my work is I have 2 neurodivergent daughters, autistic and ADHD, and they have been incredible teachers, and I certainly see all of the ways that I missed them. And that has been really powerful in informing me about all the ways to attempt to not miss my clients and what they need and how they need to navigate an understanding of themselves. A lot of people coming in who are late diagnosed, and so an immense amount of grief for the parts of themselves which were so unmet and so unseen. And then reconciling how difficult it suddenly becomes when you begin to unmask. Ange, it feels so much harder. I am more sensitive. My sensory awareness feels so much greater, and I'm not coping because I'm unmasking. What is disclosure? Where do I learn to disclose in the world and begin to advocate and stop saying or stop living as though I need to adapt, and begin saying you need to accommodate. Yeah. So those kinds of themes.
When someone is experiencing this unmasking, it becomes more difficult for them. Can you say a bit more about what someone might generally, I know it's generally, experience?
Yeah, generally speaking. So much higher sensitivity to environment is quite common.
Why is that? Before, when they were masking,
They were noticing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Instead of, and the byproduct of that is when I notice and I attend to my what I find overstimulating, instead of squashing it down, ultimately, hopefully, what we do is build a sense of capacity. Yeah, so if I understand that I am going into environments like work and I'm masking less, that my energy is going to be depleted. So I take care of myself in different ways. So my downtime looks different. How I regulate by going to the bathroom and whatever my regular tools are, I use them. Whether I allow myself to stim, or fidget, or whatever those tools are that then assist me. And then what kind of downtime do I need to recover to then be able to go out in the world in order to hopefully move towards something that feels sustainable?
I imagine that the aim of having the awareness of neurodivergence and going through this process of unmasking, finding ways to better support ourselves as we are, that the end goal of that is being able to just live authentically as a neurodivergent person in a neurotypical world.
Yeah.
Is that why we would do that?
Well, yes, in part. And also there's a big piece in there in understanding that there's nothing wrong with me.
So just I don't have to pretend.
Magnificent, just as you are. In fact, so much to offer.
And the masking potentially keeps that offering and those gifts.
Well, the masking is, a conditional response to something being wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaks to the grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart. Yeah, it just looks different. It's a different way. It's just, I see it in my daughters, how difficult it is to navigate the world, a world that's made for, and all of the ways that I affirmed, all of the ways that I facilitated them in a totally neurotypical way. And now, totally different understanding. And what access to self-compassion is then available, as opposed to something's wrong with me.
Yeah. Self-criticism.
Yeah.
How do you support clients who feel stuck?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Stuck can be there for a whole heap of reasons. So I'm looking for the source, like what's the source of the stuckness? I'm interested in motivational behavioural system of the person I'm with. What motivates you? One of the interesting things about stuck is relative to is states and state changes. I think stuck often indicates to me something in the body. So if possible and if safe to, lots of body work, to like literal movement, and associating with body is really important. But also I want to come back to even our little session there. There's this drive, it seems, to change our states. And I mean, you know, and there's certainly cause for wanting to figure out what's going on when someone's feeling stuck and see where movement can come in. But also, what if we develop a relationship with our own stuckness and that's okay, and get curious about what it's saying, whether or not it's holding us in a particular way where we need to move or we actually need to be with it. Like, it's the same with anger or sadness. Why is it that we're so driven to change the state? What actually happens when we're with it? So, I mean, that's where I'd start getting curious. Like, is this a pervasive experience for a person, or and what's the source? Which involves a whole lot of curiosity to see if we can locate some movement, or is it something that is a state and a period of time where being with actually changes it? Does that kind of...
Totally. It's really connected to the Gestalt paradoxical theory of change, that when we're wanting change, particularly our internal states, but it can be applied anywhere really, pushing against the thing that we don't want to experience generally doesn't work. Or it might work briefly and then, you know, the state returns probably even with more force. But getting curious about it, and it's when we fully accept and know the state, the sadness, the anger, when we can really come to understand it and allow it to be there, that's when the energy can actually start to shift. Yeah. And it's paradoxical because generally we feel something, we don't like it, I don't like this sadness, I need to move away from it. Where can I take myself away from this? How can I push it down?
How can I scroll? How do I distract?
Yeah.
How do I turn away from it? How do I avoid it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't work. Yeah, so just really being with it is so beautiful. And so uncomfortable, which is also, I mean, that's where change happens. It happens in our discomfort. Otherwise, we don't change anything because we're feeling good, right? Yeah, we want to go to the edge of that window of tolerance, and we want to dance there with what is uncomfortable. Yeah. And get to know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like in our session, it might be very different to what we thought it was. You know, what our mind tells us about what's happening for us is not necessarily the truth that's in our body. What I thought was anxiety was very different. And much nicer.
Not that we're attached to it being nice. But it's so nice when it's nice. It's so good when it's good. Yeah. I mean, it's the sweetness, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the sourness of it all just amplifies how beautiful it is when it is sweet.
Yeah.
And it's all temporal.
Yes. And just that experience, when we can have that again and again, where we can move towards something and get more information or feel ourselves soften or just have greater awareness, it makes it easier and easier to do next time. That when we've never done it, it feels like a terrible idea. Like, no, I'm not going towards my sadness. That's my worst thing. I don't like that. But the more we can practice that, and that's why therapy is so beautiful. It's a place to practice being with the hard stuff so that you can go into your life and be with the hard stuff in a more easeful way with less judgment of yourself.
I'm reminded, like, it's that noticing. I mean, I'm sure my clients, because I hear them come in and they'll be just like, I've just been noticing, Ange. I'm just like, oh, I love it. One of the very first places we go is noticing. And the first place, actually, when I begin exploring some somatic work is, what is it like to notice pleasure? That's where it begins. You know, if it's not outside of the body and it's noticing the room, and then noticing the body in the room, but not actually going into the body. When we go into the body, it's noticing pleasure. What does it feel like to notice the sun on the back of your neck? What does it feel like to have your hands in the fur of your dog? What does it feel like to hug another person? What does it feel like in your body when you engage scent by smelling a rose? What does it feel like? Like whatever your pleasure, whatever brings pleasure. And just noticing, just beginning to notice. You know, however we pay attention is how the world shows up for us, right? When we pay attention to pleasurable sensation in our body and we begin to notice it.
And are you saying the more we practice noticing pleasure,
Yep.
the greater our access?
Potentially, yes, but the intention there is that when we go into the body and it's we're going into pain or distress or dysregulation, that we have a reference point via where we titrate. Yeah. So if we start, if a client's going into a narrative where they notice themselves dysregulated, we're then able to access pleasure. We move away from. We're not going to flood the system with what feels unbearable. We're going to move in and out and in and out. So having a reference for pleasure is really important. So pleasure, safety, regulation, all of these are the first associations of the body before we move towards dysregulation or where trauma might be stored or, what is uncomfortable.
Can you say more about why do we move into dysregulation in therapy? What is the purpose of, I'm just imagining and have had so many clients, say, oh no, let's just stay in the nice place, not move in. I don't want to be dysregulated. I'm here to be regulated.
Yeah. Because for starters, my nervous system's here to borrow, so we're in a safe space to explore it. But when dysregulation shows up in therapy, there is it's practicing, right? Because when you walk out of the therapy room, if you're not seeing me for a week or a fortnight, the world is going to show its face to you and you're going to get dysregulated. So let's practice it here in the safety of the space together, where someone who is attuned with you and attuned with your body, hopefully, is able to notice and get curious and inquire. We're looking at building the window of tolerance. So it's capacity building that happens in a really safe space. And it also really, it's that focus on what is actually happening that then can be noticed outside of the therapy room. So if someone moves into dysregulation, I'm just noticing that I'm anxious right now, and we navigate this together and we unpack it even together. When did you first notice it? When did you first notice it? My mind, and I might be like, what did you notice happening in your body? I get this feeling that happens in my tummy. Like, okay, right, so that's your first exit. It's your signpost. Do the thoughts come first? Does the body come first? We want to look for the signposts so that when you're out in the world and anxiety begins to make itself known, there's a whole range of tools, via which you can learn to regulate, and also ask what the resource of the anxiety might be. What the resource, like there's, anxiety is it's a resource, it's protective.
Can you give an example of what the resource of anxiety might be?
Well, the anxiety is telling you, one, that might not be feeling safe. So it's a signpost that your body is experiencing a form of threat. Yeah, that you're outside of what your capacity is, in the autonomic nervous system. Yeah. So we all have anxiety. We all have our ups and downs. Anxiety is a, it's a resource for everyone. It's just like, oh, okay, pay attention here. Look around. What's going? It's pay attention. I mean, when it moves outside of what our capacity is to hold it and move with it and understand it and work with it, that's when dysregulation happens.
And we so often override anxiety.
Yeah.
Go, oh, I'm anxious and I shouldn't be, so I'll just act normal and I'll pretend I'm not.
Yeah.
But actually, we need to be discerning about when we notice our anxiety and stay in a situation.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need to notice our anxiety sometimes and go, oh, this actually isn't right.
Yeah.
I need to move out of here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How do I soothe my body here? If I notice it, do I breathe? Do I just take a few moments to breathe and to ground myself? I have to stay in this meeting. I have to do this thing. But how do I work with my nervous system in a way where I can feel more regulated? Yeah.
And the goal actually isn't to be regulated all the time.
No, I don't.
Is it?
I think that's a bit of a dream, right?
Yeah.
We don't live in a world that's structured for regulation. It's a shit show out there, right? Anxiety and depression are completely understandable responses to the world.
Yeah.
I will pop in. Get off social media. Just get off it.
Are you off it?
I'm off social media. I very, very rarely dip into, and usually it'll be to find poetry.
Yeah.
Some of my favourite poems. Yeah, anxiety and social media. Social media is the nemesis of anxiety.
I mean, it makes
that is my
sense.
Professional opinion.
This is your expert.
It's one of the questions I will ask of people. How much are you on social media?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said, isn't there, for like these sound bites of information and images, even neurologically, and our ability to focus and our sense of self relative to this world that is constructed. Undeniably, every single time a client reduces their social media engagement, their sense of self has room to bloom. It just is. When social media is reduced, they regulate better, sleep better, sense of self isn't reflected back to them through a lens of whatever the algorithm is dumping in their brain. Focus increases.
Comes back to that conversation about where are we putting our attention.
Yeah.
And we're so often putting our attention into this world of all kinds of things.
Yes.
None of which are actually happening for us here and now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're diving into a world of everything.
Yeah.
It really makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I need to reconsider my social media usage.
I mean, I get it. It's I get that it has merits for forms of connection and ways of feeling informed. I understand that, I've been led to so much fantastic music through particular Instagram profiles that I follow. I get that it has value, but it has this destructive force to it. And when I'm encountering anxiety and depression, low self-esteem, I mean, my youngest daughter's 18. She ditched social media, and she found it transformative. She was like, "Oh, I feel so much better about myself, Mum."
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to share or say?
I think, maybe simply because it's a niche of mine, I think, I work in a post-cult recovery space, and I think it's an interesting one. And that particular work for me has arisen out of lived experience, being in a fundamentalist Christian Pentecostal craziness cult for a number of years in my early 20s. And I have quite a number of clients who come into this space and work with me. I think it's an important one, and I think the themes that show up in post-cult recovery are fundamentally around identity and differentiation. And by that I mean the autonomous self, the self that was, particularly where people grow up in these environments, the self that wasn't able to develop in a unique, unhindered way. That the self is developed through doctrine. The self is developed in accordance to a set of rules, a code of living, and often, particularly in religious institution, you're born wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot to arrive at okay when you have developed wrong, that you're inherently sinful, or it's a really interesting one.
Yeah. I'm kind of almost surprised. I just have so little awareness of cults, and I guess that's part of what they do. They're out of people's awareness, so they can be under the radar and not known about. It sounds a lot more common than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we think of cults, we think of Charles Manson and, or we think of hippie communes and free love and I don't even know, those kinds of things. But most commonly, the people that are coming to see me are coming out of fundamentalist religious spaces, Mormonism, a varying plethora of churches, which look, for all intents and purposes, as very, normal kind of spaces, but have a very particular controlling system.
Is that what you would say defines it as a cult versus a religion?
Yeah, I mean, when there is no autonomous self allowed to develop, there are often incredibly serious structures of power and often to leave is to be excommunicated. It is to be cut off from family, community. You are outed, isolated, ostracized, judged. Not that you're not judged in there. Yeah. But, people will come in and have this kind of unanchored sense of who they might be in the world, separate from doctrine and separate from these controlling structures, which, do so much damage. And, and this is not to say that, going to your local community church is, it's joining a cult. They're very particular structures of power and dominance. Yeah.
It's quite amazing that people do come, particularly when they're born into them, that they do come out of these structures because they haven't been allowed to develop this autonomous self, and yet, and they stand to lose everything they know, and yet they somehow make that leap out into no man's land. It's quite incredible.
Sometimes, like later in life, Yeah, what is that quality of dissatisfaction that kind of arrives? Often what I have encountered is that there was always an inherent sense that they were different. So they're the black sheep among the flock. And there is this, and that's the beautiful thing. That's the thing to lean into, isn't it? There was always this part of you that was uniquely you. That was like,
you just couldn't deny it.
Something
you knew.
Something isn't right here. And of course, the brain develops. You arrive in your mid-20s. You are outside of the flock, sometimes in your work. So you're getting to experience other people who are outside of your system. And if you're a curious human, begin examining what the world is like separate.
And I imagine they possess an ability to go into a situation like a workplace and start to just kind of peel the veil of the doctrine back and go, oh, they're not all...
Begin to question, yeah.
Or they're not all sinful out there.
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
And
I mean, that takes a particular mind, because the other orientation is to, as I remember well, to want to convert. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to look at the world as a place of unawake people, lost souls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who need what it is that you have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to bring them in is to do them a service.
Yeah.
Save them.
Yeah. But identity is a really big one. Who am I? And dismantling the way that doctrine has shaped the self-structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we remove doctrine here, who am I?
And what parts of it do fit with me?
Yeah.
That I can keep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what parts of it don't.
Yeah.
And how to
Yep.
dismantle that, how to break it apart.
And grief. Lots of grief work there too.
Oh, I can only imagine grief of everybody they've lost by leaving, grief of the life they didn't get to live.
Yes. Yes.
Of everything they missed.
Yes. I am so sad for that part of me that didn't know better.
Yeah. Gee, that sounds like really beautiful work.
Yeah. It's really amazing.
I mean, it's the work of therapy in general, isn't it, in some sense, helping us explore who am I actually? It's just starting from a very different ground with cult recovery.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it leads right back to where we kind of, were at before. What is my language? What is the language of Ange? What is the language of Laura? How do I speak myself? What is the song I sing into the world?
Thanks, Anne.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's been great.
Yeah, it has.
Really enjoyed it.
I'm so surprised at how easy it is to really just be with you beyond all these things.
Yeah. It does kind of fade away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does. And you're just so beautiful to be with. Beautiful questions.
You're very easy to be with too. If this conversation resonated with you, hit subscribe and click the link below to download the Source app. It's free to get started and helps you find a therapist who truly fits fast.